Hey YouTube, Sam Frank here. This week's episode of Hobby Talk, I wanted to talk about what's been on my mind this week, and that's been the sport of Major League Baseball. Man, I am so glad it's baseball season, and definitely been very much enjoying the game. Um, it helps when your team is doing good. My Texas Rangers are off to a crazy good start this year, and they look they look to be a majorly improved team. It helps when you sign guys like Jacob DeGrom and all the people they sign like Eovaldi, you know, just upping that starting rotation big time. But I also want to talk about my thoughts on the new baseball rules. So this is kind of almost more of just like a baseball in general video, but also I want to touch on the baseball card market too. But first, let me give you my thoughts on the new rules. So I did not watch any of the spring training games. I did watch World Baseball Classic games, and man, you want to talk about some epic games. That showdown of these two, Otani versus Trout, in that for the final at bat in that World Baseball Classic, that was just unbelievable. One of my all-time favorite baseball moments. That was fantastic. And definitely, Otani stuff's been going crazy. Um, Obviously, I mean, he's like one of the all-time. He might be the all-time greatest player in Major League Baseball. It's really cool to be able to watch him play. So, and plus, since he plays on the Angels, I get to see quite a few of their games playing the Rangers. Not as many as previous years, but still they get to play the Rangers quite a bit. So the new rules. So the rule I thought that I would hate the most was going to be the shift, banning of the shift. But man, that I have not noticed it hardly at all. I know it makes a big difference because there were some ridiculous shifts going on, which were legal. And if I had my choice, I wouldn't mind them being able to shift. I think it's good for strategy. Just like in basketball, I know that at one time, I don't know if it still is this way, but the NBA made zone defense illegal, and I hated that. I liked that teams could play whatever kind of defense they want to play. And in baseball, I feel like the defense should be able to align themselves however they want. It should be on the hitter to see, oh wow, I've got four guys on this side of the infield and nobody on the left side of the infield. Let me just try to hit a ball over there and get, a 1,000 batting average. If you keep doing that, they're eventually going to stop shifting, which there was players that just would not take advantage of that and was just crazy to me. But they ended up banning the shift, and honestly, it hasn't bothered me that much. In fact, if you wouldn't have told me that they banned the shift, I probably wouldn't even noticed. I think it is a little annoying, but it's a rule that doesn't really bother me very much. The rule of I haven't seen a game yet this year, but the last few years they've had this rule of the zombie runner in extra innings, where you start off in the 10th inning with the runner on second, which was the last guy that was up in the previous inning. I hate that rule. I've always hated that rule, and unfortunately, they say that rule is here to stay. But thankfully, it doesn't come into play very often, just when you get in extra inning games. But I just do not like that rule at all. It's a huge advantage to the visiting teams. That's one reason I don't like it. And it kind of just, it makes it basically like a coin flip kind of to end the game instead of the better team winning. I just don't like how they did that rule, and I never will. So that rule, unfortunately, is still here, but it doesn't come into play every game. The rule that really is bothering me, I don't know why, it's this clock rule. And that was a rule that I thought, it's not going to bother me that much. But you can tell the players don't like it, and I think that makes me feel uncomfortable watching the game, and worrying about this clock all the time. And yeah, the players don't like it. I don't think the pitchers like it, and I don't think the hitters like it. And um, it causes like a little bit of anxiety where baseball is supposed to be a relaxing game to watch. Whoops. And with this clock, it kind of keeps you on edge a little bit where I don't get to completely relax watching a game. And I know I'm not everybody. I'm not the younger generation that wants games to pick up pace. Um, I'm older generation. I like the pace of baseball. I think there was getting to be some really long games, and I think there was ways they could have other things they could have tried. But or you know what? If the this clock was a little bit longer, I think it's a little bit too short, and it doesn't give everybody the time that they really want to be ready for pitches and be ready to throw, all this sort of thing. And yeah, I just don't like it. I had a thought there that I wanted to talk about on this clock. Um, yeah, it's just it takes some of the relaxation out of baseball, and um, the players don't like it, and getting just a phantom strike called on you because you weren't facing the pitcher with 8 seconds left on the clock. This type of thing is just I don't like it, and games have been affected by this already. And yeah, it's on the players to do that, but really, they're not. Baseball shouldn't be sped up. Oh, that was what I was thinking. Baseball has this clock rule has definitely made the game shorter. I will give it that. It has drastically sped up the games speed wise. But is that? Do I think that's a great thing? I don't really think it is. I think baseball is a game that should be played at its own pace to a reasonable degree. There are times you're like, okay, you know, this this pitcher is taking a really long time, but also, it didn't bother me enough where I thought, man, there should be a rule against that. But you know, is what it is. I'm of an older generation that likes the pace of baseball the way it was. I'm still watching the game, so they haven't lost me as a viewer. Now, I think maybe some people get frustrated with it and don't want to watch baseball anymore. But, you know, I I think I don't enjoy the game as much, but I'm more into the season. I don't know if it's because the rule changes or it's because my team's better. I think it's because my team's better. Another rule change was the making the bases a little bit wider. Um, I think that doesn't seem to be making a big difference, so that's fine. It's supposed to be for a safety concern. Maybe we'll have less collisions. Um, if there's less uh, video replays of guys sliding into bases, I don't mind that. Because that seemed like um, that was definitely getting ridiculous and adding time to the game. Was every time there's a close play at one of these bases, like um, especially for like stolen bases, a guy in real time, it looked like he was completely safe. But when you watch the instant replay and slow it down, he might have slid by the base, or lifted his finger off the base for a split second, and it would be hauled out. It didn't seem like that was in the spirit of the game. So I don't know if these bigger bases are going to affect that at all. I don't think so. Um, but I really haven't noticed that in watching the games. Now the here's another big rule was you can only throw to first or have a disengagement like 2 times trying to get a runner, trying to pick off a runner from first or whatever base. And the third time it's a balk and they just get to go to the next base. I don't mind that rule because that is something that fans don't like, is throwing to first base. And before you could do it unlimited number of times, and it gets tedious. It's a huge advantage to the runners, and which will, increase stolen bases. We're already seeing that in the statistics. Stolen bases are going up big time. I do like that rule, I guess, because, you know, you have to use strategy on your throwovers to first base, not just mindlessly, and even doing fake throws to first base. Yu Darvish would do just a really fake throw to second or whatever, and not even trying to be, not trying to do a fake throw, just doing just a real slow, like, hey, I'm moving my arm towards that base. So I'm kind of glad that rule is in place. And you know what? That will shorten games. I think they did too many things at once, too many rule changes at once to try to slow up or speed up games. I would like to see them. I mean, okay, here's an example. Every game I've watched this year, there's been some sort of controversy with the pitch comms and whatever. Like, the pitcher's about to get called a ball because they're taking too long, and then all of a sudden, oh, my comm's not working. I can't communicate with my catcher. That's happened every single game I've watched this year. And guess what? That'll slow down the game because then they have to go look at the comm thing and go get another one, test it out, blah, blah, blah. So, this is just a strategic move by the pitcher and the catcher. Like, hey, we're running out of time. We need to do something else. We're going to get a ball. And I think it's being taken advantage of already. And just in the few games I've watched, I've seen catchers take advantage of this new rule as well, where the pitcher had already used his throw to first. Okay, Trey Turner was on first. The clock was running down. Trey Turner knew that as soon as this clock gets down, he can't throw to first. It was some sort of thing where, yeah, he couldn't use his throw to first unless he would definitely pick off the guy, and he was running out of time. So Trey Turner was able to get a huge jump on the pitcher because he could watch the clock and say, okay, you're going to have to pitch here in, any time here. And the Rangers catcher, Jonah Heim, alertly took advantage of this rule. He saw him take off and said, whoa, I can't communicate with the pitcher. My comm's not working. We can't get a pitch. And Trey Turner had to go back to first. They had to do the old, we're going to get a new comm device. So all this sort of thing makes me not like this new rule with the pitching clock. But, maybe they can, do something with it. Maybe give him an extra 5 seconds where it's not as rushed feeling, and the games will still be shorter, but maybe not as drastically of a constantly guys running out of time as it is now. And I'm sure the players will get used to it as the season goes on, and you won't notice it as much. But since it's new, we're noticing these little holes in this rule, and if you watch baseball games, every game, maybe not every game you've seen, but every game I've watched, there's been some sort of issue with, oh, my comm's not working, where they ran out of time but didn't want to get the penalty. Okay, so and how does this relate to the hobby at all? Well, there's been some really interesting like these guys, Anthony Volpe and Jordan Walker, made their major league rosters and have been doing very well for those teams. And I mean, already we have some exciting rookies to watch this year. I've been digging through my cards, finding here's another one, finding my Jordan Walkers and looking them over. Unfortunately, as you guys probably know, this particular heritage design is look at all that whitening. Like any type of tiny little chipping on the back of the card you can see. But it's cool. I have some Jordan Walkers I didn't even know I had really because I wasn't looking for his cards. And then I was looking through cards today, and it's like, whoa, I have Jordan Walkers there and some Volpes. My Volpes were off center though, but I think I've rambled on long enough. What do you guys think? This is the important thing. What do you guys think of the new rules in baseball? Is this good for baseball? Are more people getting excited for baseball? Are more people getting annoyed, or is it just old people that are getting annoyed with the new rules of baseball? I think, let's try it and maybe back off the pitching clock thing. Everything else seems like it's okay. I'm never going to be a fan of the zombie extra inning runner, but I mean, looks like they want to stick that here and keep it here. But what do you guys think? Put down in the comments. Are you excited for baseball? Is it because of any of these rules, or are you just excited because it's baseball? Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos later.